The panic mind consists of the mental energy that was once identified with life force, before it became converted into confused life force due to corporal damage. So this mental energy considers itself as being one with that confused life force, and is factually captured by it, which will be to the detriment of the sane, mental ability. An example of the panic mind with an animal as well as a human being. In the jungle, a deer is eating grass, with little flowers in it that taste sweet. The temperature is 28 degrees Celsius, which is 82,40 degrees Fahrenheit, and the fresh smell of pine trees is present while the birds are chirping cheerfully. Suddenly a tiger jumps from behind nearby bushes and strikes with its paws on the rear of the deer, with damage of the organism as a consequence, and so the generation of confused life force with the recorded perceptions. The deer reacts with a striking kick of its hind legs, sprints off and eventually manages to bring itself to a place of safety. About a year later, the deer is somewhere on an extensive meadow. The temperature is about 28 degrees Celsius and the deer perceives the fresh smell of pine trees. The deer begins to feel uneasy. Then it starts to graze and tastes a sweet flavor. The unwanted sensations are rising, so the deer starts to be vigilant. Then it suddenly hears chirping, and the deer starts to run for its life. Regardless of there is no threat at all, since life force simply lack the acquired ability to reason. A man is walking in the city, the urban jungle. When he crosses the street, he observes an attractive woman, by which he's distracted for a short moment. When he decides to walk on, he fails to notice an approaching car. The motorist tries to warn him by honking, but to no effect. While the motorist steps on the brakes with squealing tires, the man is hit by the car, with damage of the organism as a consequence, and so the generation of confused life force with the recorded perceptions. The man survives the incident and recovers, physically, almost completely. A few years later the man is walking somewhere through a part of a city where honking happens regularly. He is nervous, but isn't aware that it is caused by the stimulated injury file from his panic mind. Then somewhere in traffic a motorist jams on the brakes, which causes the sound of squealing tires. In a fraction of a second the action mode is activated to a high degree. A cold sweat breaks out and the man becomes very edgy, because the injury file is now completely stimulated. Yet, the man doesn't flee, but surely he would have done so if he would not have a rational, critical mind. Although the panic mind tries to incite the man to flee from danger, by means of his critical mind he has the capacity to bring himself to the understanding that there's actually no real danger for him, and therefore, in spite of the very unpleasant sensation, he decides not to flee. In this case there's a conflict between the panic mind and the critical mind by which the panic mind doesn't get what it wants. In other cases the panic mind unfortunately does get what it wants too often.